I think I actually have a pretty interesting and unique story to share with you when it comes to being the face of your brand. Because for the past 7 years while I was growing my brand, I was really only the face of my brand the past year or so. And I want to talk to you about why I made that decision. I also want to share with you the benefits of being the face of your brand and sharing your brand story from the first person, talking about your story as the founder story and sharing with your audience exactly who you are and why you're creating your brand versus just sort of staging your brand sort of separate from you where you don't really know who created it and you're basically just trying to sell your clothing online. So there's a lot of nuances to this. I can't wait to get into it. Here it is. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd's a logo maker tool. You type in the name of the logo that you want to have made, hit enter, thousands of logos will come up. You choose the one that you like, then you can edit and refine that logo as long as you want for free until it's perfect. I made this design for my own clothing brand using BrandCrowd. If you're interested, head over to brandcrowd.com/apparel success and you get 66% off at checkout. Okay, so for the first 4 years growing my brand, I didn't feel comfortable being the face of my brand. I want to be really honest with you here as to why that is. This is kind of hard for me to share out loud on here. For the first 4 years growing my brand, I was honestly worried that my audience would think I was not authentic. Like I wasn't the real deal rural Canada guy that my brand is sort of selling to and that my brand is for. And so I really held back, and I kind of have this really open personality where, say I come on this YouTube channel, I have this sort of intellectual side and I'm talking about all of these deep ideas for psychology and behavioral economics and things like this. And my audience in my clothing brand space is like beer drinking, truck driving, people who just like go fishing all the time. And like, I thought that they wouldn't really understand who I was. And so this is me being just really vulnerable with you. I was kind of worried that if I was the face of my brand, they'd feel like I wasn't one of them, or like they'd feel like I wasn't truly being authentic to what the brand was representing. And I've come to this realization that no one person has one identity that they stick to all the time. Like everybody has different interests. Everybody has different aspects of their identity, and it's sort of like a personality matrix rather than this like one set in stone thing that you are. And so there is a part of myself that is super connected to this rural Canada space. And that's why I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna really like shy away from this anymore. I'm gonna be the face of my brand on social media, on TikTok, on the website and things like that. And so I really started posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok, just me, myself. And this was actually a lot harder for me to do than you might realize. But I started to really let that side of myself out for my clothing brand, and I got really, really amazing results from it. The reason why I did this is because I wanted to, first of all, create more content on social media. And it's really hard to create content all the time if you're shy about being on camera, or if you're shy about, talking about your brand and sharing everything that's going on with your brand. And so I realized that this was a fear I kind of had to get over, and that I wasn't really being courageous with my brand by just sort of like hiding and not really showing who I was. Getting in front of my audience, sharing all of these unique things about rural Canada, all of it's really paid off for me. When you finally get to a place where you can take off your mask and you just aren't afraid anymore to just be yourself with your brand and let out your true personality and inject that into the brand, that's when I feel like really amazing things happen. And with my own brand, I've never really had any post get to like 350,000 views or like 300,000 views regularly. And it was only when I started going on camera and just letting go and letting the personality of my brand truly come out through me that I started getting these posts go to like 200,000 views, 300,000 views, 350,000 views. And I think that what was happening was before, people were coming across my brand and they could tell that I was trying to make my brand into something. And when I started really letting go and just being myself with my brand, I found that, rather than people having this perception and this feeling for my brand that, oh, we were just trying to fit into this culture, it was like, okay, well, this is just who the brand is. They're being completely transparent and completely authentic. There's the brand owner right there, sitting in a chair in rural Canada, talking about things in rural Canada, and that's about, you know, as clear as it basically gets. And I think that that's when you start to create more shareable content and content that really is truly connecting with your audience. I think that the type of brands that benefit the most from the founder, like yourself, coming out and being the face of your brand are brands that are more like based on the emotion and based on the lifestyle that you're trying to create. Like a brand that's just purely selling because of the aesthetic of the designs and because of the shape and structure and how sick the clothing actually looks, I don't think that they need the founder to come out as much. I think that those lifestyle brands are the ones that really do the best when their founder comes out and just like reveals themselves as openly and honestly with their audience as possible. I think it really helps create that strong connection. And then what I'd also say is that there's a whole other element to this, which is just getting over the fear of being on camera and like being the person who's responsible for withstanding all of this attention and all of this criticism. It may look kind of easy when I'm on camera here on YouTube sharing all of this advice with you, but when I first started, the idea of hopping on camera and sharing my ideas this openly, where I'm not self-conscious and I can just basically share whatever I want to share, this wasn't nearly as easy to do when I first started. It took a really long time. Like, I used to shoot all these videos. I shot like 20 videos before I would even find one that I felt was good enough to post, because I was so worried about how it was all going to be received and the perception that I was getting. And I think that the way to get around this is all just through exposure. You slowly expose yourself more and more, and you just do it at a rate that you feel comfortable with. And everybody's going to feel differently around this. For me, I'm telling you personally, I was super shy about this. I didn't feel super comfortable, and I felt like I was putting up a mask every time I came on camera or I was doing something like this, and it took a long time to get to this point. And so I hope that that's sort of inspiring for you to hear that you can start from a place where you're literally terrified to get on camera and eventually get to a point where you just feel super comfortable doing it. It's just repetition and consistency and just slowly facing your fears over and over again, and you'll eventually get there. So honestly, 6 years ago, I probably would have had a different answer on this and said that, you know, you don't need to be the face of your brand. It's not really going to offer as much value for your brand. But this day and age, I think that to build that connection as the founder is getting more and more important. I also have just seen the results that I've gotten for my own clothing brand when I just let go of all of that and I was just honest with my audience about who I am, what I'm doing, and I just let out my personality. I think that at the end of the day, that is what people want. They want to see true authenticity, who you are genuinely, and it's really like the clothing brand owner who has to chip away at their layers and feel more and more comfortable expressing that. And I think that when you do that and you really put in an effort to do that, and that's your real intention, that it usually comes with some really, really good results. So if you're a brand that has a particular emotion or identity that you're trying to connect with, get in front of your audience on TikTok, on Instagram, and share the true identity of your brand with them. Show who you are, show what your brand is all about in its most authentic form. And I think that that's gonna go a long way for you and get you amazing results for your brand. So I hope you enjoyed. Peace. My clothing brand marketing program is 50% off until the end of the year, and this is the last sale that I'm ever going to have. I break down real conversations I've had with celebrities and influencers to land endorsements for my own brand. I show you how to grow a real following on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube from scratch. And I show you how to set up, structure, and scale up Facebook ads and TikTok ads for your clothing brand. If you're interested, you can learn more about what's inside at clothingbrandmarketing.com, and I hope to see you inside.